which is you watch the first half of the original and then you switch over to Brotherhood.
You don't like how the original ended?
Well, it doesn't follow.
I know it doesn't follow the manga.
It doesn't follow the mangas, no. But if you want to get to be the best, it's a little self-serving. Shao Tucker's got a bigger part. And in the original, it's got like 6 lines in Brotherhood. In the original, I had a lot more to do. But I really think you get some pretty cool backstory by watching the first half of the original.
You know, I get that question a lot, and most people prefer Brotherhood.
See, I prefer the original.
You like the original?
Yes.
But I have to tell them that I love the original. And I can't even really explain it, except that it's kind of like your first love. It's like the first time you experience something, you know what I mean? And it made a big impression on your heart. And you would move on and do bigger things or better things or other things, but there would always be that soft spot in your heart for that original thing. I don't know if you know this or not, but did you know what happened with the whole story with Full Metal Alchemist and then Brotherhood? What happened was they started the original Full Metal Alchemist, and then they caught up with the manga.
Yeah, and that's why the story changed.
No more story. So they made up from there on.
Yeah.
And then by the time they finished, the manga had been done, and so they went back and started over, and as you noticed, they whipped through the first handful of episodes because that had already been covered in the original series, and then they spent more time on the rest of the manga that had not yet been written.
That makes sense.
So that's my answer. I kind of have a soft spot for the original. Yes, Heather.
I was just wanting to know, what would you say is your most favorite role that you've done?
I'm sorry.
In all of the anime series, what is your most favorite role that you've done?
Oh, definitely Full Metal.
Full Metal.
Full Metal.
Okay, we're doing.
Yeah, I shed a lot of tears over that little pipsqueak. What about you?
Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. I got to have a really, really awesome part and be a really cool part of the team, a sort of anti-hero part of the team, which I dig.
Question?
I didn't think people would show.
Do you all have a certain
process for making sure your voices don't go out during like a long recording session or anything?
I'd say the only one I even think about is when I'm doing video game recording, because there's a lot of reactions. And then if it's a newer director and they haven't put all my sort of brutal reactions at the end of the session, I'll go, hey, let's put those at the end so that you can shred your voice at the end. But generally speaking, vocal health is physical health. So it's just about keeping your, because you know, when you get sick, one of the first things you know, I'm not feeling well. Your voice is one of the first indicators that you're not feeling well. And so it's really just about physical health. And I do warm up if I'm going to the studio. When I'm in the car, I'll, sing some songs or rap some raps or do some, tongue twisters or whatever. Especially if it's a morning session, I'm kind of like, whoa. Got to make sure I'm ready to go when I step in the booth, but not too much. When you get to this age, the grooves are fairly well worn. You just gotta kind of go, okay, I'm ready.
And sometimes that works very well for a character.
It's true.
Like whenever I would play a younger character, like an Ed, or maybe even like a character from a show called Tsubasa Chronicle. I was a character named Phi. Any character that had a higher voice, a softer, lighter tone. Well, you don't have that sound in the morning, typically. You sound like this. Good morning. Where's the coffee? Right? So whenever I would do any characters that were those kind of lower roles, I was always kind of jazzed if it was in the morning, because I knew I would be more in that tone. And then if there were things like Full Metal or something that needed a lighter, thinner voice, I would sound better in the afternoon. But this is your friend. This is all I know. All I know is hydrate. Water, 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 water. That's the best thing. People used to tell me that, I don't believe them, but other voice actors used to tell me that there's like a way that you can yell that sounds real, but it doesn't hurt your voice. Well, after 25 years, I've not found it. I can always tell if somebody's not really letting loose. You know what I mean? No, I can tell you're just holding back. You know, if you really let loose, it's gonna hurt. I mean, I've been singing and writing music twice as long as I've been voice acting, and I used to be able to sing 2 or 3 notes higher than I can now. I've lost a lot of that high range because of all of the yelling and screaming and fighting and for 25 years. It'll take its toll. It's just unavoidable.
Yeah, you got to do the reactions. You can't fake it. It always sounds fake. You can tell with newer actors or younger actors sometimes. You're like, ugh, I directed for a while, and it's always a terrible session if you get someone in there and they go, ha! And you're like, no, you have to. Let me come in there and punch you.
Let me come in and tear your arm off.
See how
that
that
feel
really
like?
feels. Yes.
What was your favorite character in Soul Eater besides Dr. Stone?
Oh, that's an easy one. Spirit.
I was hoping you would say that because I was going to say Dr. Stein. I would say Maka. Yeah, your dad loves you. But no, Stein, the whole Stein Spirit thing was so much fun.
Although I do have to say, I really was hoping for a toxic relationship between Stein and Medusa. I thought that would have been a great, horrible couple. Who just crashed and burned.
I think all Stein's relationships are toxic relationships.
It's hard to dissect people and keep it non-toxic.
He wrote, was it yours? He wrote today on a Stein print that he autographed. What did you write about
Spirit, don't fall asleep or you might be missing a kidney.
And then I wrote back, Stein, no, not my kidney. Oh wait, I have 2 of them. Go ahead. Question? Yes. Oh wait, one second. We're going to try to spread it out with people that haven't asked yet. Wait, dual question?
So, what was your favorite moment to voice act for Spirit? And then, Mr. Hager, what was your favorite moment to voice as Stein?
My favorite as Stein was the fight with Medusa. Or, conversely, when the Keishan is taking him over and he's going insane and he just kind of laughs crazily for like 5 episodes. I was practicing the laugh, and it's one of these things that actors do. You forget that there's public people in the world, and I was practicing while driving to Funimation, so I wanted it to be really good. And I just went into the 7-Eleven to get a Gatorade, laughing like a crazy person. And like halfway through the 7-Eleven, I was like, oh. And everyone was looking at me, and I was like, it's okay.
And the attendant was like, you can have the Gatorade, man. You can have the Gatorade.
I'm a trained actor, sir. Everyone be calm, I'm a trained actor.
As far as being and Spirit, you know, Spirit was a perfect example. This can be a teachable moment. Spirit is a perfect example of how the biggest character in a show is not necessarily the best character in the show.
Just like Alphonse or Edson.
Actors typically want to play lead, right? I mean, just kind of typically you like to get a meaty role, right? So when Soul Eater came, when Zach auditioned for Soul Eater, I auditioned for Soul, I auditioned for Death the Kid, and I didn't get anything. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it happens, right? So you kind of move on. And weeks later, Zach called me and he said, I want you to come in and play this character in Soul Eater named Spirit. He's Maka's dad. Well, I didn't even know who Maka was, so that didn't really tell me much. But I went in to record, and right out of the gate, he's so much fun. He was so much fun. He was so weird and crazy, and he had such fun comedic moments. And what I realized, once again, is that some of those secondary characters are often a lot more fun to play. You get a lot more range of how much fun you can have with them and where you can go with them. A lot of times the main characters kind of have to be they have to be the linchpin. They have to be the grounding for the show because they're there all the time, right? When these episodic characters come in, and sometimes an actor can have so much more fun with them.
It's true. When you as a younger actor, we would watch the Academy Awards, for instance, and the Best Actor category was always like, yeah, that's great, but we were always interested in Best Supporting Actor, and that's always where like the real gold actors were giving their best performances. So I'm always a fan of the Best Supporting category. Yes, more questions.